There's a lot of traumatised people. A lot of landowners have lost everything, all their cattle.
Found some our cows, one place over, jammed up in the corner. Looking for the ones now, not looking for the hundreds.
We've just sort of resigned yourself to losing 1,000 head or more and then hope that by some miracle some of them survive.
The Queensland outback is underwater. 1.8 million hectares of land inundated. Stock losses are already in the tens of thousands and keep rising. A flood so large you can see it from space. From the air, the damage is obvious, but on the ground, knowing what's coming can be hard to predict.
There's no gauges, there's no warning to tell you that that's coming or going to happen. Like, it can happen in hours.
Grazier Ashley Gallagher is fed up with a persistent problem. Like many of its neighbours across the northwest, he relies on river gauges to know how much water is upstream, a critical tool when determining where and when to shift cattle during a flood. But this time, residents say many were offline or giving inaccurate readings.
So you're back to the old days, I guess, of ringing around stations to find out what's happening up the river instead of taking 5 minutes to look on the bomb page and see what's going on.
It cost him critical time as nearly a year's worth of rain fell in just days around Christmas. Thankfully, stock losses here are minimal so far.
Yeah, some of them didn't make it. Some of them are actually stranded on a little island because there's 4 big saltwater crocodiles sitting there waiting to take them. We actually tried to get them into the water and these crocodiles attacked the cattle as they went into the water.
The situation is dire on his second station, Uralla. 1,300 cattle reduced to mere dozens.
We can all handle an ordinary flood and a couple of weeks cut off, but these are just unprecedented sort of flooding events and they just last forever.
500 kilometres south in Richmond, graziers are also bracing for catastrophic losses.
That's some serious water coming up. We've never seen it do that before.
I've had those conversations where they said, no, they're all gone. I don't mean washed away, they've died in the paddock. It's a combination of everything. Cattle have died in the paddock from pneumonia and it's just from weariness.
More than 48,500 head. The estimated number of cattle killed in northwest Queensland this disaster so far. That figure will rise when the water recedes and graziers can inspect their land. The region has been hit by catastrophic floods before, including recently in 2019.
It was like a car accident. It happened really quickly, whereas this one is more similar to what they call the 74 flood, and it's been very slow and drawn out, and I say it's like someone being on a ventilator or life support.
River gauges are owned by a patchwork of government agencies, including the Bureau of Meteorology. But the Richmond Mayor says they need to be managed and maintained by just one entity.
And you can save a lot of cattle if the gauges are all working. And you save a lot of stress and you save a lot of loss. So gauges are very, very important.
The Weather Bureau told 7:30 2 of its automatic gauges on the Flinders River are currently out of service, and a number owned by state and local governments are also out of action. Once the site is accessible and inspections can take place, the Bureau will confirm the extent of the damage.
There is a real challenge in the gauges. I think it's not a straightforward one.
Dr Pete Follett is an expert on waterways. He says managing the state's flood warning system is extremely complex.
I think it's just the tyranny of distance, our size. They're owned by multiple organisations, a mixture of BOM ones, which are the really high-tech, high-specification. We have state government ones, we have local government ones, water utilities, the odd mining company, and maybe the other private ones.
What can cause a flood gauge to go out of action?
Often the most big challenge one is that if you did get a big pulse go through, a lot of it is really maintenance.
The Queensland government says the gauges it owns were operational during the flood.
My criticism of the Bureau is not of those who work there, it's of the lack of funding that has gone there to upgrade those facilities over a long period of time.
Councils are stretched big time. Like, to have someone who has this as part of their portfolio is, I think, a real challenge. So they need support.
To centralise the system, the federal government says it's in the process of buying back a third of the 3,300 gauges in Queensland and upgrading existing ones at a cost of $236 million over 10 years. But that's little comfort for these graziers.
The working river gauges, they're a lifesaver. They're saving cattle's lives anyway, and sometimes human life when they're working.